When I think back to that night, I can still feel the cold sweat sliding down my back, the burn in my lungs, and the chilling awareness that I might not survive. My name is Emily Carter, and this is the story of how I was pulled into a nightmare that nearly destroyed me. It began in the quiet suburbs of Asheville, North Carolina, where I had recently settled into a modest townhouse. My husband, Daniel, worked long night shifts managing a logistics company, leaving me alone most evenings with nothing but the ticking of the clock and the low hum of the refrigerator to fill the silence. At first, I thought I enjoyed the solitude, that I needed the stillness. But silence can become something else entirely. It can grow heavy, oppressive, almost suffocating. That particular week in March was unseasonably wet, the rain steady and unrelenting, the air thick with dampness. I remember striking a match, lighting a candle in the living room, hoping its glow would push away the gloom. I made a cup of tea, wrapped myself in a blanket, and tried to lose myself in a novel. That's when it began. At first, it was barely noticeable, a faint rhythm like footsteps outside. I brushed it off, convincing myself it was a neighbor moving about or perhaps the wind tossing something loose. But then it came again, heavier this time, closer. My chest tightened. I crept toward the window and pulled back the blinds, peering into the drizzle-soaked street. Nothing. Just the glistening pavement beneath the glow of the streetlights. I shook my head, forcing a laugh. "You're imagining things, Emily," I whispered, trying to calm the thundering of my heart. Later that night, after crawling into bed, I awoke with a jolt, gasping for air. It felt as if an invisible weight had pressed down onto my chest, crushing the breath from my lungs. My throat constricted, panic clawing its way through me. I tried to call for Daniel, but no sound came out. That's when I saw it. A figure stood at the foot of my bed, a tall, unmoving shadow watching me. My brain scrambled for explanations. A dream. Hallucination. Anything but real. But the icy air filling the room told me otherwise. My body shook violently, and still the figure didn't fade. "Who's there?" I croaked, the words scraping from my throat. No answer. Just silence, and then a step closer. Every muscle in me screamed to move, but I felt frozen in place. My breath rasped, ragged and shallow. When the figure leaned forward, recognition struck like a blade. It was Mark, our neighbor. The same man who had always been polite, who waved from across the lawn, whose gaze lingered far too long whenever Daniel wasn't around. "Mark, what are you doing here?" My voice trembled. He didn't answer. Instead, he leaned in and whispered, "Shoo." Terror surged through me, burning through every nerve. I couldn't get air into my lungs, each breath more desperate than the last. My chest convulsed as I clawed at the sheets, trying to move. My hand struck the lamp on my nightstand, sending it crashing to the floor. The sound startled him. He froze for the briefest moment, and that was all I needed. I lunged from the bed, stumbling toward the door with adrenaline fueling my shaking legs. My throat felt raw, my vision blurred, and every inhale tore painfully through me, but instinct carried me forward. I fled into the hallway, fumbling with my phone. My fingers shook so badly I nearly dropped it, but somehow I managed to dial 911. 911, what's your emergency? The calm voice of the dispatcher cut through the chaos. I can't breathe. Someone's in my house. I wheezed, my chest heaving. Mark's footsteps thundered behind me. I darted into the bathroom, slammed the door, and twisted the lock. Pressing my back to the cold tile, I clutched the phone like it was my only lifeline. The dispatcher's voice urged me to stay calm, to hold on, help was coming. But all I could hear was Mark just outside the door. His breathing harsh, his fists slamming against the wood. "Emily, open the door. Please, just talk to me." His voice came low, almost pleading. Tears streamed down my cheeks. "Leave me alone," I sobbed, gasping between words. Minutes stretched into what felt like eternity. Then sirens. A sound I had never been so grateful to hear. Mark cursed under his breath. The pounding stopped. Moments later, the slam of the back door echoed through the house as he fled. Police stormed in soon after, their flashlights sweeping across the rooms, voices calling out commands. By then, I was crumpled on the bathroom floor, trembling uncontrollably, barely able to breathe. Officers wrapped me in a blanket and summoned paramedics. The doctors later explained that what nearly collapsed me wasn't only fear. It was a combination of severe panic and the strain of hyperventilation. Mark was arrested that same night, caught only a few blocks away. He had a backpack filled with tools. What those tools suggested made my stomach twist so violently I couldn't bear to think about it. The days that followed blurred into restless nights. Every creak of the house sent me spiraling back into that paralyzing dread. Daniel stayed home as much as possible, holding me through the panic attacks, grounding me when I felt like I was suffocating again. And through it all, I came to understand something I had never realized before. Fear has the power to steal your breath. But so does strength, the strength it takes to survive.